Every time I get a new project, it happens a lot that the kick drum is not gonna be like perfect, in a sense that maybe if the project was produced in Ableton, maybe the kick drum had some sort of a warp on it, or like I don't know, any other reason that could cause this. And so how I usually begin working on any mix is that I'm gonna check if the kick drum has any issues as a stem itself. And if I find any reason whatsoever to do what I'm about to do, then I'm gonna do it. And so what I do is I get one, or like in this instance, because I've heard that the kick drums were different from each other. In the case of electronic dance music, I don't really think that's a good idea to have different type of kick transients, different types of tails. Even if there's just a little bit of a difference between each kick hit, it's going to take away a little bit from this cohesiveness. And then later down the line, when I'm trying to optimize the bass and every other instrument around the kick drum, then this is going to create another issue. If the kick drum is maybe bouncing a little bit in terms of its level, so it's not the same transient and not the same tail every time, then that might also cause some issues. And so what I'm doing essentially is I'm just getting out individual kick samples, and I'm going to listen to which one is sounding the best, and I'm going to use it throughout the whole track instead of using the stem. This also gives me another opportunity because everything is sliced up. I can control the tail even better just with a simple fade out. This is what I normally do. In general, this is a very helpful practice that I do this, I would say, like 99% of the time. Every now and then I get a session where all the stems are just magically perfect and I don't really have to touch all that much about them. But here I felt that this procedure would be best if I did it like this. Yeah, this is what I'm actually doing right now. Is I'm comparing all these different kick drums. I'm going to listen to them in solo, which one is sounding the best. These are, once again, individual takes from the whole long kick stem because they were not exactly the same. Probably it was an Ableton warp or something along these lines. And there was a little bit of a click as well. That's also what I tried to get rid of. But in the end, I decided against it because in context, and when the whole song is playing, it was not even really all that audible. It's just this type of OCD inside me that was to try to clean everything that's even possible. You can achieve a similar thing using a transient shaper by adjusting the sustain. Basically, it's just about how much control you want to have over something. And this is kind of a nightmare to do, for example, with a whole loop. Because here, this is only one kick drum on one stem. This is relatively easy to solve by just getting out one individual kick and then copy pasting it over and then doing this fade out thing. But in the case of loops, like a transient shaper, applying it as an effect over a stem is a much better solution. I mean, you can do it manually, but it's just going to take forever. So sometimes I have no choice but to do that as well, which I believe I'm going to do that in this song with one of the loops as well, because I think it was a clap sample that was sticking out. Maybe I remember it wrong. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So far, we are still just about to finish with the kick. It seems like I chose this kick sample, and yeah, it was time to move on to the bass.